Hello people, welcome back to my channel. So hope you're enjoying the Python skill series and the machine learning model deployment with the Python as well as the Flask. So in the last videos we saw how we can build a Flask application which represents your machine learning model as a web application. But the issue was like it was local to you. You cannot host it or not anyone in the world other than you can use it. So in today's video, we'll be solving that issue with the help of deploying it to a cloud service that is called as Heroku. So first I will give you what are the requirements that you need to have. So first, this is the web page for the Heroku Development Center. So first, in order to deploy it to Heroku, what you need to have is called as the Heroku CLI, that is the Heroku command line interface. So that is one requirement. So as you can see, the Heroku CLI makes it easy to create and manage your Heroku apps directly from the terminal. So the terminal that we'll be using is our bash itself that we have. So from this we will be basically used to write all the version control commands, and we'll be using git for that. So along with the Heroku CLI, if you want to push it to Heroku, you need to have some version control, or it's called as continuous integration and continuous development technology. So that is called as Git. So before you install Heroku CLI, you need to have Git installed. So I have my Git already installed. So you can basically click this link, and if you are using Git for the first time, you can see this. So what are the basic steps that is followed for Git bash and how you can use it for deploying your various things. So it is not along with the Heroku, but with any other push pull request, or if you are aware about the GitHub, so where the different developers push their codes, and you have to do various pull request and commit request. So as a uh, prior basic to all of those GitHub, you use the Git technology. So I would suggest you not to go with the GitHub, or do not manually put all your files onto GitHub, but rather use the Git instead. So that will get you a grip of how the activities or various commands are done via bash or through the command line interface. So in organizations, if you go, the developers there mostly make use of the bash or the command line interface, uh, rather being dragging and dropping files onto GitHub. So I would suggest you to use Git for any of those applications, or like tomorrow if you have to build some Docker containers or Docker images. So in that also you make use of the bash, or you use the version controlling by means of Git. So that is my advice on you to use the Git. So this is my Windows machine that I'm using. So on three different operating systems, you can use this CLI. So on Mac OS, you can install by Brew, and on Windows, I have this 64-bit installer. So the Heroku CLI in my machine is of the form 64-bit. And on Ubuntu distributions also you can use it, but you can use the snappy version for installing this. So this is the commands that you need to put for the Heroku CLI, but just remember, before Heroku CLI you need to have the Git installed. Okay, so if that is the case, then we will go back to our application. So this is my normal application that we have seen previously, but I have made slight changes. So the first change that I've done is I have renamed the name of my file. So before this it was regorapp.py. Now I have changed it to app.py. Now there is a reason for doing this. You can use the previous name also, but I had some issues while doing this, so I will discuss each and everything in detail. And to the code, what changes that I have done is, so for code, I have to use the OS and the logging. So this is a predefined library that comes in Python just for your linter. So by linter, I mean if you have any errors or on the go, if you want to compile, or if you write any statements, then it will pop up that this particular variable is not used or uninitialized or things like that. So in order to pop that things, you basically have a concept of linter. So in Python, you have something called as PyLint, which is a Python linter. So for the Python linter to understand the different methods or the different libraries which you take from this particular packages, so for that you basically have to write import OS and the login. So that is basic thing. Okay. So what I have done here is I'll just minimize this. So first, if you look into this, so this is my basic body of my normal application that we had previously. So what changes I have done is, I have put this entire thing inside a application. So this is one application, I agree, that is app is equal to Flask, but this will be running locally on a web server. So in order to deploy it to a cloud, you need to wrap it in a application, a separate application. So for that, I have put this inside a class, or not in a class, inside a function. So I have defined a function that is create app, and inside this I have put my application which I had previously. So in this, what I have is, I have put a try and except. So just to check if everything is going perfectly, then it will connect our host to your Heroku. Else it will throw some error and it has to be handled. So in try, what I write is the everything or all the statements that I have written previously. Just mind you, there are some indentations that needs to be followed. So if you don't feel convenient while doing this, or if you have any troubles, because Python largely throws indentation error if something here and there goes wrong. So I suggest you to use some online beautifier or code beautifier for that. So it will perfectly format and beautify your Python code if there are any indentation, and then you can paste it directly onto this. Okay, and this is the same thing. So and after this, what I do is I want to return this app. So this return app is for this particular function. So you can imagine this entire thing that I have, so till here. So this will perform one particular operation, that it will go to the index page, it will take the values and it will predict what is the total number of cases. Then that I'm storing into app. So this app now needs to be returned. Why? Because it is there inside this function. So for that I have return app. So now once everything is perfect, or if everything works perfectly, if you have put the data correctly, then it will return this. So that will be written inside the app. And then if that is not the case, then I put a except. So in except I catch a exception. So exception as E. So this we have seen for errors and error handling. So that's why I have this module logging. That's why I've written this logging, and inside this login dot exception. So if there are any system related issues, or if there are any web server or any other issues, it will be logged inside your logs for your system. So it will be thrown on your command line or on the bash. And then what I have is, this is a separate method that is, or a function that is define get port. So for this, what we need to have is, we need to host it to Heroku. So you can do it dynamically or you can do statically. So what here I have done is, Inside get port, I have hard coded a port here just in case if any of the other ports are not available or if they are listening to some other service, then I would suggest like it has to take port 5000. So this is the normal port for which we have run on localhost. So this is the syntax, that is os.environ.get, and this is the name and this is the value that I give. So this is define get port, and after that I have the main method. So now since if this is the case, then it will return the app. So this app I have to pass on to create app. So here create app is another function that will later see how this correlates everything for this construction. So this is a newly created method. So this does not have any definition as such. So definition is everything inside stored in your app. So whatever story is there for our application, it resides inside this app. So this particular create app that I'm calling here, it is as simple. So everything what is there in create app, it goes inside to this app, and via this app I call run, and in run I put debug is equal to true. So that was the thing what we have seen last time when we deployed it onto the local host. And then I have port, so that is get port. So get port will call this particular function, it will return to this. If there are any ports other listening or not available, then by default it will run on 5000. So for any service to run, it has to listen to some port. Host will be obviously from your Heroku, but if any other ports are not freely available, then from our side it should be perfect. So that's why I'm passing this get port and the host, that is 0.0.0. So this is not the local host, but the host from where the Heroku will be accessing. Okay. So if this is the code that is perfect, then what we need to have is we need to do some kind of coding, or instead we want to understand like how these are connected. So I will just pop up my bash. So first of all, in order to run this, you need to have a web server. So for that you have two ways or two options to do that. One option is to use something called as Unicorn or Unicorn. So the G in this Unicorn stands for GNU distributions. So, or it's the green unicorn. So it is primarily used for Unix systems. So if you have Mac or if you are working on Linux, then for that the unicorn is primarily suggested. But if you are using a Windows setup, so most of the users will be using Windows, so for them unicorn won't work. So an alternative to unicorn is something we call as a waitress. So as you can read from the official website, that is waitress is meant to be a production quality pure Python WSGI server. So WSGI stands for Web Server Gateway Interface with very acceptable performance. So now this particular thing runs on Python standard library, so you need not import or do any other kind of other interfacing or stuff like that. It runs on Unix as well as Windows, and this is the version. So make sure you are upgraded to any higher versions as mentioned here. Okay, so we will be using Waitress as a web server for deploying our application. So it's like when you want to deploy anything, you need to have a web server. So Waitress and Unicorn are two web servers for different operating systems. So we will be using this Waitress from the Pylons project. Okay. So and then these are the different usage. You can take your time and read this. I'll just put the link in the description of both these two websites or for these two web servers. So then what you need to do is once you have understood which kind of web server you want for your dependent upon your operating system. we will install this packages. So for installing this, what we have to do is, and I presume that all of your machines have Python installed. So you need to have the Python, and you will use the pip3, that is for the Python version 3, and you will write pip install waitress. Or if you have Unicorn, then it will be pip install Unicorn or gunicorn. So it will take some time to connect to your server or to the repository where this particular thing is located. uh, I have already installed to my system, but just to show you how the commands are written, you basically have to write this, that is pip3 install waitress. Pip3 is basically the Python installer package from Python 3, and you will be installing waitress. So the time it takes to install, uh, okay, see, now it's saying requirement already satisfied. Waitress C is residing inside my this particular site packages. Okay, so if you don't have, or if you are installing, probably for you it might be new. So it will basically install to this particular location wherever your virtual environment is located. Okay, so for Unicorn also you have to do the same thing. So I'll just show, or gunicorn. Okay, so but I don't require Unicorn for this, or if at all I make use of Unicorn, it will throw some error. So now I just don't show the code. Instead we have to look at the command line, what the commands are basically for this. Okay, so once you have identified like which web server you have to use, now there are two crucial files whenever you want to host to Heroku. So the very first file that you want to have is a file called as requirements.txt. So as you can see from this side, I already have. But if you don't have the requirements.txt, what how you can do is, you can write pip3 and freeze requirements.txt. So this I am showing you by the command line. You can manually create this, right click and do the file creation. But to make sure like how it is done by the command line, that's why I'm showing this. So make sure you execute this particular requirements.txt before installing all the required packages for running your Heroku application. Else, if there are no requirements or no packages found, and if your application demands that, then it will throw an application error. It is as simple as that. So if I just enter this, you can see this particular source control one pending changes, and you can see I already had the requirement.txt. For you it might not be there, or it will be showing as U with a green highlighted symbol. So for me it is modified, and if I just look what are the contents inside this, you can see there are different packages. So what you see on yellow are the packages, and on the red or on the pink side you have the version to this. So this is by default identified, and you have all these things. So see, you have the Unicorn, then you have NumPy, Pandas, PyLint. This is the linter that I have mentioned, SciPy, SQL Alchemy. SQL Alchemy we have not used in this. That will be shown in the some other video, how we can do the database connectivity with SQL Alchemy, SQLite. And then this is our waitress for web server, and there are some other packages that are required. So you can consider this requirements as something like when you want to build your house, you'll probably see the contractor like I want so and so things, or you'll give a requirements like you want this much cement or this much bricks, this much manpower. Okay, so that is the requirement. So then it will build your house. Similar is the case with Heroku. So if you mention Heroku like I want to install all these packages, or Heroku please install all these packages for deploy my application, it will take this and it will try to get this particular kind of packages before hosting your application. Okay, so that is just to make sure like it works on the same environment and on the same dependencies as mean the same kind of libraries as it is running on your machine. So once it is hosted on your Heroku, there should not be any problem for accessing. So for that, we have this requirement.txt. So this is one important file. Okay. So after you install all the packages and once your requirements.txt file is ready, the next important file that you want to have is a proc file. So proc file, as you can see here, it has a Heroku extension, or it's the icon is from Heroku. So proc file stands for processing file or process file. So what the uh, proc file consists is, so you can create this proc file via this way. So you write touch and proc file. So if I enter this, you can see the proc file. So in proc file, probably when you create for this first time, it will be blank or empty, and you want to write something onto this. Just a one-liner, what you want to put onto this. So that thing, what you will write is, you'll write a web. So web stands for the web server, that this processing is to be done on a web server, and the web server that we'll be using is waitress-serve. So this is the name of the web server, that is Waitress will be serving your web request, and the port that you want to use is, now here you can hard code any port. So remember we have put here that is 5000 in this. So if this is also not available by any chance, then what you can do is you can dynamically allocate. So whatever is free, Heroku will basically listen on that and it will run on that. Okay, so port is just a carrier where you have to listen, so that should not cause an issue. So for that we will dynamically replace the values, that is $port, and this is a important flag, that is hyphen hyphen call or minus minus call, and inside this in single quotes you pass app and create app. Now this thing you have to understand very crucially, or like this thing is very crucial, or else you will have different difficulties while deploying, because for me when I deployed this I had encountered different issues. So just to let you know what are these things. So the first thing that you see on the left hand side is the name of your application, or it can be also a package or a module. So this first app corresponds to or represents your this application app.py. So inside that or after this, to the right hand side, what I have is create app. So if you see inside this, we have this create app. So what this particular process file will do is, it will act as a web server, and the web server or the type of web server is waitress serve. It will serve on some random port that we'll see when we see onto the logs, and how it will call or what to call. So it will say like Heroku, take this particular port or serve on this particular port by using waitress server, and uh, from the app you have to execute create app. So that is basically this particular statement. So if you have understood till this part, then your deployment is very simple. So that's why we have put this as a wrapper inside create app, and we have passed this. There are other ways to do this, but this is the most simplest way you can connect to your Heroku or push to your Heroku. Okay, so now that we have all these files, or the two crucial files, now is the time to log into Heroku. So to log into Heroku, there are two ways, or on the official website, you can see what are the different ways to deploy or not deploy, instead how you can log in onto Heroku. So how do you do that? So you write Heroku login, and just mind you, for doing this you need to have the Heroku CLI installed and all the paths have to be configured to your system. So you write Heroku login and -i. -i stands like if you want to stay in the command line itself, you will write -i, or if you don't want to stay in the command line, then by Heroku login, when you enter, it will go to a particular browser and it will ask for credentials for login. So I want to stay in my command line itself. So it will ask for your username and password. Okay, so it is asking for your credentials. So I'll put my credentials here. Okay, and password. And also there is a extension or feature available, that is a two-factor authentication. So from your mobile device you can put any code and authenticate it so that you are more secure while you are logging. So you can see it is logged in. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to create our Heroku app. So everything will be shown from the command line itself, nothing going on to browser and doing. Okay, so you create your app via this Heroku create, and the name of my app is Predictor App V101. Okay, so this is the command for that. So make sure you put name of your app that is not already taken. So if any name is there which already exists, it will throw the name already present or like that. Or it's like when you create your username or password, then it says like it's already taken. So uh, every app should have unique name. So for that they keep this. So app with same or similar name cannot exist. Okay, so for that it is this. And then once you create your app, you have to initialize your git. So for that you will write git init. Okay, so it says reinitialized existing git repository and it resides inside this. Okay, so now we have done so many things. So what's happening behind the hood? So if you want to know what is happening, so you can basically go and once you have logged in onto your Heroku, you can access your dashboard. So there you will basically see your personal apps which are there. So you can see now there are three different apps. So this is the app that I've created some time ago, and this is our newly created app. So if you read here, it's based on Python. So these two things, that is the first and the third one, that is already built it. This we have to build it. We'll see the steps, and if you see the location, so the location is by default United States or Europe. By default it takes United States itself. If you want to change the location by manually creating new app, you can create that. So in that you can put the name of your location. So since I'm doing from command line, it takes United States by default. Okay, so if you click on this app, that is our newly created app, we can see there are different parameters. Obviously there is a pricing associated with this. So how is the plan is for a free account. So what I'm currently on is a free account. So for a free account they gives the liberty of publishing or deploying 5 Heroku apps. But if you want to put more, there are two ways. First is you can configure your put your credit card details. So there will be some monthly plans for that. Okay, as you can see here, that is this many dollars something are there for this. And the second way is like to delete some of the existing apps. So from 5 apps, out of 5 apps you can delete 3 or 2 apps and then you can reuse it. So that is the way that I do. Okay, and if you look at the deploy for this, So it gives you the option like how you can deploy this. So there are two ways how you can deploy this via the Heroku Git, that is by CLI from where we are currently doing, or you can connect to GitHub, and via GitHub you can post it to Heroku. This is one way. We won't be following this way. Instead, we will be deploying using the Heroku Git. So what we have done is we have logged on to Heroku. Okay. So we have initialized the Git repository. Now we have to clone this particular repository. So for that, you can use this command, and you can paste this. Okay. So uh, depending upon the name of your application, you have to change this every time. So you see, you have to read the logs, what it is saying, set the git remote Heroku to this particular repository. Okay. So now once you have done this, what you need to do is you need to write git add and a period or a dot. Means it will add all the files which are there on your particular repository or particular directory that is onto this site, including the proc file requirements and all the other files to this particular repository for deployment. So if I enter, you should probably not get any errors, or if you did some changes to your application or to your proc file or to requirements, or if you found like some libraries have not been installed, then you install the library, and then every time you have to freeze the requirements. So in that case, you will see some revisions here, insertions or deletions, modified file, which file has been created, which file has been deleted. You can see that particular thing. Okay. So once you add to this, you have to commit your changes. So this has the same syntax like how you do the database operations. So once you put anything or add anything, you have to commit this. So with commit, you have to pass some message. So okay, so it says on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree is clean. If you did any changes, it will give you what are the changes that you had done. So that's why this is essentially called as version control, or it is under the domain of continuous integration and continuous development, CI/CD. Okay. So now once you have done this, you have to push your application to Heroku master, and before that, to which Heroku you are pushing, how do you understand that? So for that, you can write git remote -v. So you can see my Heroku is there inside this. So this particular Git repository I am pushing on to this. And there are some other repositories also. So if you have a conflict, just make sure like where you are actually pushing. Okay. So now I will push to this particular Heroku and on the master branch. So master here stands for the master branch. You can create new branch, or you can put onto that. So that also works. So now this will push onto master. So you can see it is building the source code. It will identify the underlying app. So it says Python app is detected. It will install all the requirements. So that's why this requirements file is a very crucial file. So you can see what are the different packages it is installing for your application to be hosted on Heroku. So that's why I said requirements.txt is one important file. So once everything is perfect, or if it does not find anything, then somewhere you can see in the logs there will be some errors that is thrown. So make sure every packages are installed, and then finally you can freeze your requirements. Okay. So now if you see here, proc file declares types, that is web. So now it is reading this particular proc file. So it will understand that it has to serve on Waitress. It will see whether Waitress package is there, and it will take some code, and it will create that app. And this particular compression is done, and it says like it's launching and released v3. So this particular app has been deployed onto Heroku. So let us take a while for this to complete. Okay, so you can see remote verifying deployed done. Okay, and this is the particular Git repository, that is a new master, that is a new branch. If you hover onto this, you can see a follow link. You can click onto this. Okay, so ask whether you want to open to your external website. Okay, either you can copy paste this onto your browser, and now you can see it has been successfully hosted onto your Heroku. So now this is a live application which is running on your Heroku. So now that means it is not under your local host. It can be accessed by anyone in the world. Okay, as long as your app is there residing onto Heroku, you don't delete that. Okay, so now uh, it is deployed. Now we want to test this whether this works perfectly. Okay, so for this I require some patience for you. Just bear for some time because I have not done any database connectivity as such for this. So I will be manually entering for some values. So what I do is, since we have tested for some of the case, I'll do india.case.tail and I'll take some of the values. So I'll take this, that is new cases. So we want to predict this total cases via app. So mind you, this everything is now working via app. Okay. So the last entries that I want. Okay. And you can skip for some time, or I'll just put the timestamp where you can see finally. So, or you can just check whether I'm copy pasting everything correctly or not. Okay. So if some of the other values are wrong, then it will basically not predict. So that's where we have not done any kind of negative value treatment or any other handling as such. So that's where this app fails. So you can improve your app depending upon your requirement, how you can uh, want to make work this. Okay, so now that is, make sure you're copy pasting onto the correct column. Okay, that is new deaths per million. Then you have new deaths smooth per million. So this is a difficulty when you have large predictor variables. So the later stage would be to do some optimization, or with few parameters how you can basically test this. So that will basically do some research and do onto that how it can be improved by not putting all the values, because one genuine reason is like we have trained our model based upon all 31 different predictor variables. So we have to take that pain in putting all the values. So but for a user, whenever they are doing this, we want the user experience, or user should not be getting tired. So I understand that, but later we'll do some database connectivity or via some other tweaks how we can do this. Just keep in mind, now when I double clicked, it's not taking this value. Make sure you take all the values correctly onto this. Okay, so few more entries to go. Okay, then 70 years older. Okay, this is the GDP per capita. Then extreme poverty. Okay, then the cardiovascular death rate. Okay, uh, diabetes prevalence. Okay, female smokers 1.9, male smokers 20.6, 1.9 and 20.6. Then hand washing facilities 59.55. Okay, and this is the HDI, that is Human Development Index. Okay, and if I just click now score, it now went to the predict, so it is working fine. And just see the approximate cases that it predicted are around 743267.9.99. so if we just go here and check what our data frame has to say, that is this value 7432680. So 680, just a small precision error. So this we can justify, like not every model is perfect. So even human beings are not perfect, then how we can say like our model we build want to be perfect. So that is one way for justification, that is we had some error, that is 0.14 or around 12. So by this it will give you approximate, that is accepted. So this is accepted. Okay, and one reason to this is like we have done the NA value treatment by using the median values or the mean values. So depending upon which kind of NA value treatment you use, this prediction can also affect. So right from the EDA till the model deployment, everything in between are very crucial. So if somewhere or here goes the wrong, then your prediction will also affect due to that. Okay, so well, that was all regarding deployment of your Flask application, which is a representative of your model, to Heroku. So I'll put all the necessary links in the description. Make sure you check that. And if you have any doubts or queries regarding any of this, or while doing this, if you have any issues, feel free to put in the comment section. And thank you very much for watching this video.